Hey everybody, Htown Wheelhouse here with Locked on Astros. I want to talk to you about Ryne Stanek. I recently caught up with him and asked him some questions about the process of avoiding arbitration, coming back to Houston for another year, a look back on 2022 a little bit, and what he's looking forward to in 2023. Let's talk about this on this special edition of Locked on Ryne Stanek.
Alvarez hits a high drive center field. Bierling's back. This game is turned upside down. There's the runner. Fly ball down the right field line. Tucker comes on. Kyle Tucker. This time they finish the job.
Hello and welcome to Locked on Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Heisman and Brett Htown Wheelhouse Chansey.
Hey there, everybody, and welcome to a special edition of Locked on Astros. We're going to talk about Ryne Stanek. He is a friend of the show. If you've watched our show at all this year, you've seen him on a few times, and he's been gracious to grant us interviews. He even signed a ball for us when we hit the 5,000 subscriber mark. So with that in mind, please help us get to 7,000 subscribers. We're nearing that. You're going to be seeing us at FanFest this next weekend coming up. So if you're going to be there, message us, send us like a hello while you're there on Twitter. Let us know where we can meet you. We're going to be interviewing fans. It'll be a lot of fun. But I wanted to focus on Ryne Stanek here. He is not only dubbed the baseball Jesus on our show because of his flowing locks, but he's just become one of my favorite pitchers to watch in an Astros uniform. He began his career, this is his 7th year, okay? He began his career as a starter. He broke into the major leagues. He was going to be a starter, but then slowly transitioned into the relief pitching role. When we picked him up, he came from Tampa. Tampa has some kind of magic sauce they have over there to really turn good pitchers into better pitchers. And since coming to the Astros, Ryne Stanek's game has really stepped up. That 6'4", flame-throwing right-hander is awesome. I mean, this kid went to Arkansas. He was a Razorback and literally had one of the best relief pitching seasons for any Astro in all of their club's history. That's right. He had a 1.15 ERA on the season, a club record. Not only that, he had a FIP of 3.02. He compiled 54.2 innings with 62 strikeouts with a 1.23 whip. All these numbers I'm throwing at you, what does that mean? It means he's really good at what he does. A lot of times when Dusty Baker put him in the game, he was in high leverage situations. They were not low stress innings. And he went in and he threw up zeros. At one time had 27 or 28 consecutive scoreless innings and just was a key piece in this Astros run this season. I recently reached out to him and asked him some questions about the 2023 season. But going back to him before we get to that, from 2018 until now, he's basically ranked in the top 10% of Major League Baseball with the fastball that averages 98.3 miles per hour. Phenomenal stuff here. And he also has a very good handle on 2 other pitches. Outside of his fastball, his split finger and his slider proved to be weapons this year. If you've seen us on the channel or you've seen any of the stuff I've put on Twitter, I've done breakdowns of him, and you can scour our channel and YouTube shorts. Go to that folder. You can find where I talk a little bit about Ryne Stanek in 2022. But I want to get to the questions that I asked him and thought you might enjoy his responses. He took time away from what he was doing, getting ready to answer some questions. So with knowing that this is his 7th season, his 3rd, he's had 3 seasons with the Astros. I asked him, what was the process like? Was it mutual on both sides? Because if both sides don't agree, you got to go to arbitration, and it becomes a big kind of much ado about nothing sometimes. Sometimes it's a $500,000 gap or $2.5 million gap like Javier and Tucker. But the arbiter is the third party that comes in and says, here's the team's offer, here's the player's offer. We'll kind of come in the middle. They didn't have to do that. He said, yes, the process was pretty easy. He said it was mutual on both sides. There wasn't too much back and forth, and there's no animosity. So it worked out pretty well. And I was, you always like to hear that. Then I asked him, what is it that keeps Ryne Stanek wanting to come back outside of the World Series runs? And he said, honestly, the city. The city has been great. Not only the city, but the fans in the city, the organization, they've all treated me well. So it's a hard place not to like. Basically, Ryne Stanek wanted to be back, and the Houston Astros wanted to have him back. So that's a great thing. Then I asked him, how have you grown as a relief pitcher in your career since you've been with the Astros? He's really embraced this role. I know there are some questions as to why Dusty did not use him more in the postseason, and I haven't asked him that question yet. I don't know that I want to go down that road. There are people out there that will interview players and ask them the tough questions. That's not my lane. I don't do that. So I want to respect the process, and you'll hear in one of his answers how he probably was less bothered by it than most of our fan base. He said, I feel I've grown as a reliever by just becoming more committed to what I do conviction wise, believing in my stuff, believing in what I'm trying to accomplish. I also have confidence that it's going to work, and I trust that. He said, once that process is over, either with a good or bad result, I have found the ability to flush it, come back again, and stay committed to the same plan. So consistency is key. Trusting his stuff is key. You could say, I guess, he's a cerebral pitcher where he gets it in his mind and he does it. I'm not a big fan of like motivational speakers like Tony Robbins and guys like that, although I know they have value in our society. But there was something he said recently, and it was an old clip of him, and he talked about his mindset. And he said, if you can convince yourself that you're going to do something, let's say your job is Ryne Stanek to go out and be the best relief pitcher that you could be, and you say it in your mind enough, but you put a plan in place and you go through that plan and you go through that process, then you know what? More than likely, that mindset is going to become a part of who you are, and you're going to be able to accomplish that thing you want to accomplish. So this sounds like almost like Ryne Stanek went to some Tony Robbins class, because he says there's a process. I trust it. I trust my stuff, and I just go do that. I loved hearing that. So I asked him, going into the 2023 season, what is your top priority as you prepare for the season? He said, honestly, I feel like going into the 2023 season, my top priority is the same as it always is every single season. Taking care of my body, making sure I'm healthy, and feeling good so that I can continue in whatever role I'm called to do. That's right, whatever role he is called to do. Again, I think he probably wanted to have more of a hand in some of the playoff games and that playoff run, but it sounds like he's a company guy and he trusts Dusty. He trusts his stuff. So maybe there were conversations before. Hey, unless we get into XYZ situation, we're not going to use you because we need you if we get into those high leverage situations. So maybe the answer is in him answering these questions, not about the specific topic, but it's a great mindset. Then my final question to him was, does it make 2023 season less stressful when you know that you have all your key pitchers back on the roster? You have all your bullpen pieces is what I was referring to there. And he said, I don't know about less stressful because each year comes with new stressors. But having the same group that performed at such a high level last year makes you feel good about the season. Just having so many guys that can be trusted to do so many different things definitely is a positive. I thanked him after he answered those questions for me. He's back in Florida. He's in Tampa. He's getting ready for spring training. I'm excited because my son and I are making our first trip out to spring training. But I just wanted to give you this little. I figured this would be a good piece of information to get on Ryne Stanek, to hear from him how he feels about the process. And hey, I promise you, if you're ever at a ballpark, you ever see him, I'm sure he'll take a picture with you. I'm sure he'll sign autographs for you. He's a really, really nice guy and a big piece of the Astros' success going into 2023. Well, hey, for myself and Locked On Astros, I'm Htown Wheelhouse. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out on your way to work on Apple, Google, Spotify, Odyssey, or wherever you get your podcasts. And remember, we're your team every day. Go Astros.